All right, well, today our focus is going to be on the electrical design tools, SolidWorks Electrical, and we're going to also today talk about CircuitWorks. So welcome to this episode. If you're a part of other design aspects, whether it's data management, if you're in the CAD design part or simulation, lots of enhancements and features that you're going to benefit from checking out the other parts of our series. So catching you up a little bit, over the past year, we're not talking today just about what's new in 2025. SolidWorks is now calling, instead of service pack releases, they are calling them functional deliveries because each of these releases has included some significant enhancements across the entire SolidWorks landscape. So these functional deliveries, I will highlight some of these targeting SolidWorks Electrical, but in the past year, over 200 user-driven enhancements have been introduced throughout the product landscape. So let's get started. Taking a peek at some changes in the product portfolio offerings. You're going to now see CircuitWorks added into SolidWorks Standard. This used to be exclusive to some of the more premium SolidWorks installations. It's now in Standard. And the reason that is to accommodate some new relationships and some new collaborative capabilities, which I'll get into in a little bit. So when you start installing your 2024 Service Pack 2 or higher, you will see CircuitWorks included by default. If you're not familiar with CircuitWorks, this is an interface that lets you import PCB design data, visualize it in a SolidWorks mechanical assembly format. IDX3, I'll get into a little bit more details later, but this is a greatly improved file format over the old IDF, and that is part of the updated CircuitWorks as of 2024 SP2. You're also going to see, if you're on the Cadence Allegro design platform, integration with SolidWorks. If you're considering PCB design tools, this might be a valid tiebreaker. The integration is smooth and seamless, as a push-pull mechanism allows board changes to propel back and forth. We'll talk about some of the finer granular details of that as we continue. The vehicle for that is the CircuitWorks program, so that included it in the SolidWorks Standard installation. It's one of the reasons for that. Okay, because these tools are going to be integrating through the 3D Experience platform, you've got all of your 3D Experience Innovia control. So that's going to be the case here as well. And talking about your Cadence Allegro library, those CircuitWorks libraries are able to connect to the platform so that you're using that same Cadence library. So why have this integration? Well, the circuit design, the circuit board portion of so many products is just assumed at this point. So this ECAD, MCAD workflow, sending and transmitting your changes and change requests back and forth, making sure everything fits, functions, and works the way that you need it to, is paramount in product design. So the file format, as they have added this IDX3 format in here, has just a lot more granularity to it and a lot more design information stored in that file type. So as you push and pull your changes, you'll be able to select or reject the individual portions of those changes instead of just all or nothing. So let's take a look at CircuitWorks in action. We've got our Proteus machine and taking a look at one of the board sections therein. As CircuitWorks opens these, it's going to reference those CircuitWorks library files directly from the Allegro library on the platform. And you can see here that also included are the traces and vias. So the copper is going to be fully realized, and that's going to give you the accuracy in your build model as you put this into an assembly inside of SolidWorks so that your machine, if it is sensitive to weight requirements, is going to be accurately modeled with those real materials. All right, let's change our focus now to SolidWorks Electrical, focusing on some 2D aspects and some 3D aspects and getting into really what I consider one of the strongest releases that I have seen in quite some time. Now, there's a lot that's happened in this past year along the way, so highlighting some of these capabilities that happened in 2024, there is the option to zoom to fit. You can select so that your projects, when you open your drawings, are going to zoom right in to the extents of the page. There's a lot of new import capabilities for cables and manufacturer parts. There's improvements in the cable experience and many functional enhancements. The electrical component tree has had a few changes to the structure so that manufacturer parts have a subsection for its own illustrations. Continuing on, we'll take a look at some new features that came in the 2024 builds intelligent 3D drawing creation. When you create drawings from SOLIDWORKS Mechanical and add them to your electrical project, the blocks are navigable, they show properties, and are included in your final drawing dynamic links and the PDF hyperlinks. The annotation tab allows detailing of your 2D layout drawing to happen on the SOLIDWORKS electrical side of things, including connection labels, report table insertion. And there are enhancements to how data updates in the SOLIDWORKS electrical assembly and drawings. There are some enhancements to drawing mark numbers. You can now have repeated numbers by folder. Distributed terminals, excited to demonstrate that and excited for people to get to finally use this. Along with that comes some terminal strip drawing enhancements, including now ends for wires and more accurate terminal strip layouts. In the SOLIDWORKS electrical 3D realm, loop prevention for anyone doing flattening of harness sections and splicing is greatly improved. We have cleaner flattened drawings, a lot of extra fields are available, and some shortcuts to make flattening a lot simpler and quicker. Starting with some 2024 enhancements, zooming to your drawings upon opening. Traditionally, when you'd open a drawing, it would return to the same zoom that you had left it at. And now in our project settings, we can change to a default of zooming to the extents of the drawing. So every drawing opens up at an easy to reach position. So we zoom to fit. Now when we open these drawings, they are properly zoomed in with less navigation zooming in and out. Let's take a look now at some new importing features in the library tab. When you select the import dropdown, there is an improved import template. We create a new file based on a certain class, and as we import parts, some of the enhancements included here are the ability to import specific circuit terminals, and there are dropdowns in the selection so that we can pick and confirm that there are no typos or miscategorizations and no mismatches when we enter these into our database. We populate our spreadsheet. On the right, the formatting of the circuits and terminals should be consistent within a single spreadsheet, and the same can apply to cables where the cores are able to be imported in addition to the bulk cable properties. Upon re-import, the program is able to do a check of the current parts to see what's been added. On the left, if you select your circuit separator, terminal separator, and those have been correctly set up in the Excel file, they'll import appropriately. Now taking a look at how some of these parts were applied to components, we've got off-the-shelf connectors and cables that have been assigned within our components, so we can review those properties, circuits and terminals included. Cabling has seen many updates, including per cable mark route options. You can now set up a unique mark route that will be taken into account during cable marking, and some additional characteristics for bulk or per conductor cable properties. Taking a look at our search feature, this is done by pressing Control F if you didn't know about this. Navigation within your project global search allows you to not only navigate to the line diagram representation of a cable, but to navigate per core in the search results with the go-to drawing option. Improved navigation lets you get to the details quicker. In the Project Cable Manager, we now can delete and disassociate. There's also a preview option to ensure that you're making the appropriate changes. Disassociate and delete cleans up your cable quicker for reassignment. Here we'll pick out one of those newly imported cables, and as we assign it, we can use the mark route filter to make sure we're selecting the proper cable category. Also built into our cable improvements are several new variables, and these are included in the FX Mark tab. You're going to see options here now, including row tags, origin component tags. These have been frequently requested to uniquely mark our cables. Updating these in the project, you see that it does properly address those new cable formula entries. Here, upstream and downstream cabling, but take it in any direction your cable marking standard requires. We see now a new node within your component properties, each part listing that has an illustration per part. We can jump to its illustration details. Our exported drawings are able to capture our navigation hyperlinks, including those coming from our drawings that were originated in SOLIDWORKS Mechanical with the Create Project Drawing function. Let's take a look now at some enhancements and improvements in the harnessing realm. So here we are going to introduce a splice into the circuit, handle the rerouting, and demonstrate that the flattening now produces accurate results without the loop issue. Finalizing that route, we get a nice clean assembly. Opening that for flattening and detailing now comes with some additional enhancements. Focusing in on that splice, we see no loop message reported anymore. The mouse shortcuts are readily available right next to where you're making your edits, cutting down on mouse travel and making your flattened route drawing updates occur much more quickly. Turning this into a SOLIDWORKS drawing, you're going to see several new enhancements, new fields, constant updates to the data and the information contained in the tables, as well as the ability to produce this flattened drawing in our SOLIDWORKS project. When we introduce a drawing to our SOLIDWORKS electrical pages, the blocks are now navigable. So here we have this connector pack, and we can use this to navigate, view the component properties, and insert connection labels. Also introducing a new tab, the Annotate tab. Drawings created from SOLIDWORKS can now be detailed in SOLIDWORKS electrical schematic, so that designer can do the work if preferred. It increases the flexibility in the workflow options. Now we can place report tables, auto balloon, and add connection labels if it's more appropriate to do so in the electrical schematic side. Let's jump into a few new capabilities. We can now adjust our marking scheme so that per folder, drawing marks can be repeated. This avoids manual markups and allows some agility to fit different user needs and standards. Exporting to our PDF, we have those navigable hyperlinks, including the SOLIDWORKS drawings. Those are included in the symbol loop, easing navigation and consistency. Taking a look now at the distributed terminals feature, we can finally put down an individual symbol per terminal. In the past, this required some unique symbol styles with circuits broken up and hyperterminals. Now we can accurately represent each individual terminal, even passing the wire information through, and each illustration can be accurately associated on the page. No more strange results in our terminal strip drawings, and no more jumping through workaround hoops when setting up your terminal strip manager. Final results: when you enter your terminal strip drawing, your wire ends can now have an illustration per wire of its destination component. A few other enhancements not highlighted previously. We have user data now available in our wire termination type manager. These allow for flexible definition of up to 20 fields, and those can of course be added to our component or part circuits to accurately label how each wire termination ends. These enter your reports, connection labels, or on your page symbols. Some new variable entries are offered for origin destination arrows, giving you better navigation and better understanding of the bookmarks traveling in the same book. Coming soon to your 2025 release, FD1 will include this capability. I have not yet gotten to play with this, but I am excited to announce that per terminal accessories are now allowed to be assigned to a circuit. If you've ever dealt with something like a fuse block or a connector pack and the individual accessories, it's useful to know their mounting position for accurate assembly. It's done with the click and drag interaction in your component or symbol properties window. We can associate an accessory for a circuit, and that is useful in then collecting in our connection labels and connecting in our reports. I know especially those dealing with mil-spec type connectors with all of the different pin sizes and seal sizes will appreciate the completely 100% associated accurate description of each terminal in that connector. Finally, a few improvements to the electrical content portal. Files can be shared with a link, and this is useful for collaborating amongst your team. And if you're dealing with the schematic designer ESX role, keeping everyone current on the same library and sharing libraries, this is a useful addition. And searching on the 3D Experience content portal has improved with the addition of more 6W tags. These are your filters that allow you to find what you need even more quickly. Your 3D Experience role for electrical schematic designer is now able to link to or create a physical product in CATIA. And this was realized in 2024 FD3. If you were working on the 3D Experience platform role for the schematic designer ESX and you're a CATIA user, there are now the ability to associate or create new physical products from your schematic, and that is realized as of 2024 FD3. Some improvements in the routing realm. Slack percentage can now be set per individual route segment, so wire, cable, or harness individual needs can be accounted for. And a hopeful functional delivery improvement will be discrete wires realized at the assembly level, improving assembly instructions using tools like eDrawings. So I hope this has helped highlight many of the new features that came along in 2024 SOLIDWORKS Electrical, and of course, looking forward to 2025. And thank you for joining me for the 6th episode in our series of What's New 2025. Up next is manufacturing, so stay tuned for that. Join us for episode 7. And of course, look back on all the ones that came before as you gain a deeper understanding of what 2025 and 2024 have to offer.